Hello everyone, and welcome to another Destiny 2 video, and it's Season of the Dawn, which means loads and loads of new stuff to do. Now, you've probably all done the mission up to this point to get the obelisk, the first obelisk, active, and done a run of the Sundial, so I'm not going to go through the quest steps because they're relatively easy to follow. Just go over and do this and go and do that. So, first of all, let's go and have a look at the Tangled Shore Obelisk and see how it works. Now, the obelisks are like mini vendors, really. They have bounties, and they also have buffs that you can buy and use. Now, in order to access all the different buffs, what you need to do is to actually upgrade the obelisk. And to do that, you need polarized fractaline. Yes, that's the new planetary resource that comes from the Sundial and from the bounties that you get from the obelisks. Now, each obelisk has its own weapon pool. Once you have that obelisk connected to the Sundial, then those are the rewards that you can choose from. So on the Tangled Shore, you've got the new auto rifle called the Steel Feather Repeater, and I love the design of these guns. Ooh, look at that! I love the chrome, and I love the 14 that's written on it, and it just looks gorgeous. So yes, I'm sorry, getting carried away there. That's the auto rifle, and then we've also got a sidearm called the Breach Light, and that follows the same design. Oh, it's lovely. I love the purple light and the big thick trigger. It's fantastic. Now, mine also dropped with the Osmosis perk on it, and this is one of the new perks for Season of the Dawn, and that allows your weapon's damage type to match your subclass, so you can shoot Void, Arc, or Solar Shields just by changing your subclass, which is rather neat. And looking back at the obelisk, they've got their own enhancements, which are specific to the obelisk on the Tangled Shore or Mars, which we'll have a little look at a little bit later on. But if we have a look at the Tangled Shore Obelisk, you've got the Etheric Spiral Extractor, which basically means more etheric spirals will drop when you kill Scorn. You've also got the Gambit Fractaline Extractor, which means you'll be getting more polarized fractaline when completing Gambit matches, which is very handy. Now, these other two ones, you've got Time Lost Stasis. It increases the progression rate of your Time Lost weapon frames. This is specific to the Tangled Shore because it is slightly different from the ones on Mars. Like I said, we'll have a quick look at those in a bit. And then also we've got the Signal Strength, which allows more than one obelisk to be tied to the Sundial at once, which is really good, which means then you get a nice bigger choice from your loot pool. Also, we can take a look at here at the 5 bounties that we've got. Now, the first 2 are just weekly bounties that you have to fulfill in order to get major fractaline harvest, which means shed loads of fractaline. But then you've also got the bounties for the weapon frames. So you need to fulfill whatever the objective may be. You can see it says random objective there currently. I don't know if it's meant to say that, but anyway, it does. So you've got the Steel Feather Repeater frame, and you've also got a Black Scorpion frame, which is the scout rifle, I believe, is an energy scout rifle, which is nice. And then finally you've got the Breach Light frame for the Breach Light sidearm, which we talked about earlier, so that's nice. And then if we look quickly down at the bottom, we can see here, this is where we link the obelisk to the Sundial Activity. So you just click on that to activate it, and then that means that you're going to get the Tangled Shore loot pool from when you complete the Sundial. But as you can see here, you've got something called Reset All. Now, what this basically does is disconnect the obelisk from the Sundial Activity, which allows you then to reconnect a different one, like, for example, the one on Mars. And you could also see just to the right of where the Sundial link's title is, it says remaining links. So you can upgrade to having 1, 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4 obelisks. Not too sure yet, it hasn't happened. So you know how many obelisks you can actually link by looking at that figure there. And you can see on mine it says remaining links 0 because I've only got 1. Now, in case you don't know, you have to unlock the Mars Obelisk, but it's just all part of the normal quest chain that you get through Osiris. So once you finish your first run of the, not the menagerie, it is a bit like the menagerie, isn't it? Of course, I meant the Sundial. Yes, so once you've done that, you get these 3 quest steps from Osiris himself. So just collect those from him. Oh, and by the way, little glitchy thing here, you can't just pick them all up one after another. You have to pick one up, come out, look at his face, and then go back in and interact with him each time. And anyway, the one on the end there is Attunement Mars Obelisk. So you need to pick that up, follow the quest steps on that that one to get that activated. Okay, so the Mars Obelisk is just to the left of the landing zone. So let's have a little look through this one and see what this one's got to offer. So first of all, we've got the Obelisk bounties again. They're weekly bounties, so they're obviously going to rotate week by week. Now, these are the 3 weapon frames we can get. Now, the first one is the Martyr's Retribution, which is a grenade launcher. And it's the first grenade launcher to use. It's a new frame entirely. It's called a wave frame. Now, what happens with this is that you shoot a grenade out of it, and when it lands on the floor, a wave of fire shoots up in front of it, and it's amazing fun. It's fantastic fun. You should try it with loads of thrall and cursed thrall coming towards you. It's like a glorious chain reaction of death, and I love it, so I'm going to be using that much more often, and it probably could be very useful in the Sundial itself. Anyway, if we go and have a look at Bygones, there we go, that's the second one. So we know the Bygones is the scout rifle, sorry, the pulse rifle from Gambit. And finally, we've got a new fusion rifle called Line in the Sand. So those are the ones that we can get and grind for. And if we drop down to the second line for the Obelisk enhancements, we can see we've got Seraphite Extractor, so additional Seraphite will drop. We've got the Crucible Fractaline Extractor, so we get more Fractaline from Crucible matches. That's really handy for upgrading the older Resonance rank. And then we've got Time Lost Capacity. Now, this allows us to carry more than one Time Lost weapon frame, so that's pretty handy. And finally, we've got the Temporal Slipstream, and this one increases the quantity of rewards from the Sundial, so that's pretty bloody good too. Okay, and let's have a quick look at the armor mods too. We've got Heal Thyself, so that gets you a bit of health back once you do a final blow, which is quite nice. The next one is Striking Light, and that means you get an extra orb of light for your allies when you do a melee or sword attack. And finally, we've got Extra Reserves. That means with void damage, it grants a chance to drop special ammo, so that could be very handy too. And that one's minus 10 intellect. Shit! And then on the bottom row, then we can see that we can link this obelisk to the Sundial, or we can reset it. Now, in regard to resetting, I've had an experiment and there's nothing to worry about. If you click Reset All, it doesn't reset your ranks, you don't lose any of the levels or any of the buffs that you've already purchased. All it does is sever the link between the obelisk and the Sundial. So don't worry, go ahead and do it if you want to be able to switch your reward pool before you've had the ability to upgrade to Resonance rank 11, so you tie more than one obelisk to the Sundial. Now, we only have 2 obelisks at the moment, but if you have a look on the 17th, you can see the Nessus and EDZ obelisks will become available, so more weapons for us to earn. It's all bloody great. And that's how the obelisks work. Now, I was going to show you a bits and bobs to do with the Sundial itself, but because this video has turned into a bit more of an in-depth analysis of the obelisks, I'm going to do that in a different video, I think. Now, what do you think of the obelisk mechanic? I think it's great. I love it, and I love the guns, and I love the way they look, and I'm really excited because I was a little bit nervous before it started because Bungie were very tight-lipped about what they were going to do with this new season, and I think everybody felt that there wasn't going to be that much, and I'm quite surprised at actually the amount that there is. And I think by Bungie not telling us what they were going to do helped fostered a sense of anticipation and surprise, so when we got the stuff that we got at the beginning of the Season of Dawn, we were all chuffed. So I think that they've played a blinder, and considering it's only 10 quid for this, I think it's really good so far. Do you agree with me, or are you vastly disappointed? Let me know in the comments. Right, I'm off to grind the Sundial until my bottom falls off. See you out there. Time Sausages Gaming Channel.